And the last piece is be a learning based person. Know that like you got to do this and you got to stay very learning based, and you want to be able to make sure that you can, get the contractors to fight over the jobs. But as you're being learning based, you got to know that you can do this regardless of your construction experience. Because when you're kind of coming in like, well, I don't know that, I'm not good with this, and you're using that kind of language, there's nothing in construction that's like, nuclear physics. There's absolutely nothing. I would say one of the most complicated things is electric, but you could learn the basics of electric pretty quickly. You could learn how to identify very quickly that, okay, that's not right. We teach that. We do the infield training. We have some stuff we'll be teaching in the contractor code where we actually walk you through some of the basics that you want to know. And if you just know the basics, you'll be able to identify whether someone looks like they're doing the work right or they're not. And that's a big one. And then dive in and make it happen, right? I mean, it's super big. Just like start doing it and stop worrying about like, what if I make a mistake? The biggest thing I can tell you is if you don't pay people up front, there really isn't too many big mistakes you can make. But if you do pay people up front, there really isn't too much you can do right at all, right? There's nothing. It's almost impossible to do anything correctly if you're paying people up front. However, if you don't pay them up front, you'll always be in a position. I know Samira got in a position with an electrician who was like, F you and I want more money. And she was like, nope. Now she was a little more into her rehab, and she had some lessons that not to do that. And you know what? It was a little bit confrontational, but she came out on the right side of it. And that's the secret to it. Because she didn't have the money, she had the power. Another time when she actually paid up front with that guy, the crazy HVAC guy, she hadn't had the power, so it left her powerless. And I know she definitely didn't love it. I totally didn't love it. I was mad for her. He was a guy that had worked with me for many years. And, I hadn't worked with me in like probably a year, but he'd done 50, 60 houses for me, did a great job. But something had happened to him in the 6 months that I hadn't been working with him. Like he got on drugs or drinking or something weird. That's just the way it works. Now, I never paid him. So maybe he didn't rip me off. Maybe he was ripping other people off. And that's the one thing that I've seen before. When you don't pay people up front, I've seen them rip other people off in order to finish your job, to get your money. So, I mean, obviously we don't want to be involved with people who are doing that, but if we were in a situation where someone was ripping two of the three people they work with off, well, we'd hope we'd be the one they're not ripping off because we didn't pay them up front. And then obviously if they're that kind of weasel, we'll get away from them very quickly. So we want to work with great people, but great people want to work with awesome people who know what's going on, who are well prepared, who have a good system. They love that. And they're so willing to work with you if you are able to have some really cool systems together. And what they really love is consistency. So, and they're okay teaching and helping as long as you have some basic understanding.